Hi folks, Lee here. Welcome to my humble YouTube channel. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's subbed to the channel in recent months. It means a lot when people do that and they comment and like the videos, because it takes a lot of time and effort to put some videos together. So thank you for doing that if you're one of those lovely people. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. There's loads of tuition on this site that's free. There's lots of different performance stuff as well. And this video was filmed specifically for Dawsons Music, who I do lots and lots of demos for. So you should go and check them out. Lots of gear reviews. And without further ado, let's get on with the lesson. Today we're looking specifically at improvisation, and a few people, in fact, this is probably the most popular in terms of responses that we had. So I had one on my own Facebook page from Scott Marco, who said, what scale shapes and patterns should I be learning to improve my improvisation? And John Derbyshire asked, hello John, how few or many scales do we need to become decent improvisers? I'll say this, you don't need to know billions of scales to improvise. B.B. King could tell you a story with just one or two notes phrased in lots of different ways. So I think the main key to becoming a confident musical communicator is phrasing. So I would start by trying to play a solo or melody on just one string, and don't think about patterns, just listen to what notes you're playing and how you're playing them, because you never work on things in isolation. So practicing in this is also working on your ear training and that connection between your brain, your heart and your fingers, which we're all trying to do when we're improvising really. If you've got a good sense of phrasing, then even simply knowing the pentatonic minor and major scales in one position should be enough for you to tackle most things. And obviously the larger your vocabulary, the more elaborate your story will be. But I will say that if you build your house on solid foundations like that and work from there, then the way to practice improvisation is to actually just improvise, sit and do it, actually sit and play along to things. And that's the best way to practice. Let me put this down, start playing some stuff for you. Put a backing track on, and perhaps just keep it to kind of one tonality. So the backing track might be just one chord that's jamming along. So you can then forget about the changes that you're trying to put across, and you can concentrate just on your phrasing, taking the things that you already know, maybe like the blues scale or the minor pentatonic scale for this one. And not just running the scale, but actually thinking of ways to say something with it. And it might be a dip of the whammy bar. It could be slide into some notes. It could be bends. It could be a picking pattern. It could be some string skipping. It's not necessarily needing to know lots of different notes, it's ways to approach those notes. You could slide it up to every note that you already know from a semitone below. So many different ways, and the more you kind of pull on that little thread as you're practicing, the more they'll come out when you're just not really thinking about it. And I suppose that's the key to it really. You want to get to a position where you aren't really kind of thinking too clinically about your improvisation. You're just enjoying yourself and losing yourself in the moment. And that's where your feeling's going to come across. That's what people will connect with when they see you play, because you're connecting with your inner emotions and all of that stuff. Another really good way, let's say you're going to play over changes. A lot of people will say, how do you play over, say, jazz changes, or lots of maybe complex chord changes? I would say if you know how to play the chords, then you should be able to find a note that fits the chord progression, and that's a really good place to start. And if you're playing, particularly if you're playing jazz and starting to play jazz, then one of the ways around that is to actually take let's say a 2-5-1, a typical 2-5-1 in jazz. So we've got a minor 7, we've got a dominant 7 or a dominant 9, and we've got a major 7, the resolve. So 2, 5, 1 in a particular key that you're in. So what we could do, if I said to you, right, play over those chords, One way around it would be to play notes from those particular chords. And you could play them as little arpeggiatic patterns or little picked patterns, similar to what we did yesterday when we were looking at that kind of pattern. So we could even play that first part over that first chord. Say in this case we're playing D minor 7. We could play. So I'm playing root, minor third, fifth, and then minor 7. The next chord is G7. So I could carry on doing the same thing. So I'm going to play root, major third, fifth, and then it's seventh, the dominant 7. And then the next chord is C major 7, isn't it? So I've got to find a way around that. So I could play. So you should be able to hear the chord progression just from the notes I'm playing. So that's a really good way to get your head around playing something you're not familiar with. And unless you have memorized absolutely every jazz standard out there, and that's, you know, that's an exercise in itself, just the memory of remembering all the changes and then being able to transpose it at will to another key, then you're going to play from a chart a lot of the time. And I'm not talking about reading the dots here, I'm talking about seeing the name G major 7 and having a couple of ways to play a major 7 chord. Whatever they may be for you. The more you know about those chord shapes, the easier it is to kind of work through the chart. And it also means that you have more knowledge about which notes are going to work over the chord. And I would say just being able to spell out the chord in terms of, if you see a major 7 written down, knowing that that is from a, you know, if we're going to pick out the notes, we've got a root, we've got a major third, we've got a fifth, and we've got a major 7 interval. If it's a minor 7, we've got root, minor third, minor 7. And just having that, you know, intervallic knowledge is going to help you to be able to play over lots of different types of chords that you may be not familiar with, without having to go, right, I know that the second mode of melodic minor fits over this chord, which is a different approach altogether. So just to summarize then, because improvisation is an absolutely huge topic, it's very subjective as well. The way I improvise, the way my thought processes might be very, very different to another player. And the way that the rock player will improvise will differ again from a jazz guy or jazz girl, and the classical people as well. It's very subjective. But to summarize these few key points for me, which have very much helped me, is get some vamps, get some chords going that you're happy to jam along with, just in one tonality, so you're not changing key. You know, that kind of thing, anything you can get hold of, and then just experiment with your phrasing. Try to say something with the notes that you're playing. And then start to put that to one side, get a couple of 2 or 3 chords for the changes, and then look to play them in an intervallic way, as I said there. So I hope that's been of use to you, and at least try one of those. If you're struggling or you feel like you're not a good improviser, actually, who's to judge you? Who's the person that's judging? The only person that can kind of do that is yourself. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Just try to enjoy music, try to enjoy the learning process, because it never ends. It should never end. The moment you stop trying to learn is the moment you have stopped learning and you've stopped improving. So if that's the choice you've made, then so be it. But if it's not and you want to keep getting better, then enjoy the process of learning, because that's the beauty of anything, any kind of art form, I think. So there we are, that's my little overview around improvisation. So there we are, guys, thanks for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and head on over to the Dawsons Music Facebook page and give them a like too. And while you're over there, you can find me on Facebook under Wrathe. I'm the same on Twitter and also on Instagram too. So come and check me out there and make contact. Once again, thanks for watching. Till next time, take care.